So in this segment, we're going to be talking about a statement Rachel Reeves made recently, saying Labour will address flaws in the Brexit deal, but she's adamant that the Labour Party has no plans to take us back into the single market. Again, I've talked about the problems around that, blah, blah, blah. But point being is that that's a reference to this article here, talking about Anna McMorrin, who talked about the fact that the UK should rejoin the single market. At some point, at least in her opinion, it should happen. But again, we'll see. A Labour government will work to address the flaws in Johnson's Brexit deal with the EU that are damaging British businesses, Rachel Reeves has said. She spoke at the Times CEO Summit in London, so it's very clear that Labour are trying to court businesses to support them. Reeves said Labour had no plans to take us back into the single market, but that they need to address the problems that the current deal has thrown up, which is fine. A modern supply-side approach cannot and must not ignore the task of making Brexit work for British businesses and consumers. But again, she hasn't actually spoke about how she would fix these things. She said we must address the flaws in the Brexit deal, hitting our food and drinks manufacturers, creative industries and professional services. Now, the issue with these statements is that professional services and creative industries are not typically covered in free trade agreements because these are services. You know, they're not really covered in trade deals that much. So for her to make those points makes no sense. I mean, she is talking to a load of businesses, so maybe she's trying to appeal more to them, but I don't think lying or being misleading is the way to go. This will be through repairing and strengthening our supply chains and building on the UK-EU trade deal to cut red tape for exporters. And again, how specifically are you going to do that? Are you going to take the alignment agreements that exist within the TCA? What are you going to do? She says we need to adopt an approach that seeks to solve the problems in a practical way for the UK companies and aims to build trust rather than continually retreating to the Brexit issues as a domestic political wedge. So essentially she's saying we need to find actual solutions rather than running to Brexit in order to attack the EU. Reeves used her address to set out plans for an expert panel, including former Treasury Ministers Lord O'Neill, to develop policies to ensure Britain under a Labour government is the best place to start and grow a business. But the thing is, we will never be the best place to start and grow a business because we're not part of the EU anymore. That's going to be a massive problem in it. Also, the fact that other countries have more access to labour and expertise, that's another problem. And, you know, other countries are far more deregulated than us. So depending on what company you're trying to build, the UK won't be the ideal one anymore. She said the party under Starmer was proudly pro-work and pro-business. You can't be both. You just can't. And would look to develop strategic partnerships with business in government. Okay, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but you know, the Labour Party, especially with the recent strikes going on, need to remember they are a party of the worker, the party of the unions. It is no longer enough if it was for the government to simply get out of the way, she said. So essentially she's saying the government need to intervene. For the next Labour government, such an approach will mean government applying itself more to driving up the productive potential of our economy. Sorry, I'm struggling a bit here. The state has to be active in fostering the conditions of our country to prosper, whether that's in sponsoring world-leading research, getting the regulatory environment right, or in helping bridge the gap between a fantastic concept and the reality of its commercial production. So essentially she's saying the government has to be involved to an extent, which is more kind of a centre-left rather than a left-wing approach, which I'm not necessarily that angry about. I know other people would be. She's very much in the centre-left kind of centre camp of, you know, politics. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like Rachel Reeves specifically, but did you realise in this article she offered no specific solutions as to how the UK would seek further alignment with the EU? And that's a key problem. All the Labour are offering are, you know, very vague things. They draw the red line at us rejoining the EU in some capacity in terms of the single market, etc. But she hasn't really mentioned alignment in this article at all, or equivalency, or any of the other things the Labour Party could do in order to help kind of repair the damage that has been done to our supply chains and to our services, etc. It's just kind of embarrassing, honestly. You've spoken to a group of CEOs and offered no specifics. Lucky I wasn't in that room. Because I would ask them, what exactly are you going to do to fix these issues? But, you know, one day I hope I'll be able to interview a Labour MP. Maybe I'm not still enough. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Sorry, my highlight tool's not working. But yeah, let me know what you think. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.